Hello, and welcome to Marketplace Monday, live on YouTube for the first time. Uh, my,
Hello there.
my name is Joseph Hadaway, and I'm here with Marketplace co-founder FA. I've asked you this every week. Burak.
Burak.
Oh, I got it right the first time. Let's go.
Yeah. It's kind of like Obama's, but without the A. Instead of A, you have like you. No relation.
So I guess before we get into today's topic, how you doing, FA? How's it been?
Good. Been watching the markets really on marketplace.com.
Of
If you
course.
want to join the conversation there, feel free to join the conversation there.
Not a lot to watch today with the
Yeah.
Martin Luther King Jr. Market closure holiday.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, not today, but I mean overall, today's been a slow days, a holiday. Just looking into the future and what has happened last week, which is kind of what our topic.
I would say, which before we get into that, one more thing I do want to bring up. Huge shout out to whoever in the earnings hub today just put sell Coke with no context.
So the when is Coke's earnings coming up?
I have no idea actually, because I know tomorrow is kind of the big day. Really a lot this week, but tomorrow
It's
is the really
February.
big day for financial stocks. We've got PNC tomorrow. I think Morgan Stanley. I know later this week, Travelers Insurance, Fifth Third, Regions Financial. Shout out all my southeastern US friends. Schwab, I think,
Mm-hmm.
is Wednesday.
Yeah, it is. It is actually Wednesday, and then there is Citizens, and then there are a lot of them actually.
Shout out Raleigh, North Carolina. Let's go.
First
Citizens
Financial Bank
Bank.
shares. Yeah, a lot of financial industries
I'll
coming
take
up
it.
this week.
So yeah, kind of, getting into today's topic of just financials. A lot of banks, all of the investment firms, really everybody but Vanguard released a spot Bitcoin ETF last week.
Yeah, so kind of the big deal that's happened last week, and this the first thing that's happened this year, I guess.
It really is. And as they went, all 11 of them, despite what the SEC may have said, which we'll get to that in a second, went live, started officially trading back on Thursday.
Yeah, are you gonna buy any of them?
Personally, I am not. And that kind of gets me into like my big question of who are these for? Because like I know that I'm I guess a little more on the younger tech savvy side, quote unquote, but like, God, you can buy Bitcoin with Robinhood, you can buy Bitcoin with Fidelity. Coinbase is a huge publicly traded company. Um, it's kind of like, why do these ETFs exist when it's so easy just to invest directly in your own Bitcoin and even move it to a hard wallet if you want?
I mean, I guess one possible thing is that it's actually not that easy for someone who doesn't know how to buy Bitcoin, but who does know how to buy an ETF through like Thinkorswim or something like that.
That's
If you're, yeah,
that's exactly what I've been hearing on Twitter. X, excuse me. Sorry, Elon. Next week's space is just going to be the Elon space. But yeah, it's exactly what I've been hearing is like, I say that, I don't know, you might say from like a privileged position, I think it's easy to buy Bitcoin, but like I could call my mom right now and I guarantee she couldn't tell me. But I
yeah,
guarantee she could tell me how she could invest in an ETF.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's much easier, and the people already have their money invested in the, I don't know, bank accounts, I guess, on the trading platforms of their choice. So you don't have to like do that. Also, like every single time I buy any crypto, I have anxiety, even with all the knowledge I have. It's like I need to transfer the funds from one wallet to another wallet. It's like, am I doing this correctly? Am I gonna lose tens of thousands of dollars at this one? It's like it's always like very stressful for me. Even for me, like I can't even imagine for someone who doesn't know.
And
But I guess if you don't know anything, you wouldn't worry about it at all. But like, yeah, for me,
uh,
it's
I mean, I would say, and here we are talking, F.A. Burak working at a FANG company, CTO of a fintech firm, MarketPlays.com.
Yeah.
If you have that anxiety, and I mean, God, you are probably the most tech savvy person I know. You've got the resume. How do I compare?
Yeah, I mean it's just copy pasting a giant ass SHA code into one window to another. It's still anxiety inducing because it's just so much money riding on that copy paste. What if you made a mistake?
Yeah, I mean, I guess yeah, I guess I mean, if you were looking to invest in Bitcoin specifically as an asset, I guess at this point we're commoditizing it, kind of like gold. Which,
Yeah.
to be fair, I mean, analysts have been calling Bitcoin digital gold for years.
Yes, that is actually the only use case that I can see Bitcoin really filling, replacing gold. Any other thing that people like Bitcoin about, I don't agree with. Especially like there are all these like different, I don't know, blockchain privacy, whatever. Like nobody cares about that stuff, really. Really, like yes, people care, but not as much as they seem to think they do care. It's like I always hear like I don't know if you remember this. It was like 2016 or something. There was a company, the Lemon Juice Company or something. They put Bitcoin in their name, and then their stock just they put blockchain in their name, and then their stock just skyrocketed. This was in the first bubble of the Bitcoin stuff. But I mean, to get back to the thing, I don't think Bitcoin has any use case that can't be done with regular technology. It's not really giving anything new aside from the ledger thing. And I think that the only thing that it is actually good for is a gold standard replacement. Every other thing is just, well, I can do this with regular databases or something like that.
So let me also ask you your opinion on this as well. So, if you're looking at Bitcoin as the new gold standard, is every other crypto kind of just going to be left for dead, or is like Ethereum going to be the new
Yeah.
silver, and then like Polkadot is bronze or something? Like where does the other hundreds of thousands? I mean, granted, there are so many shit coins out there that are never going
Oh
to
yeah.
amount to anything, but like Polkadot, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all kind of seem to be quote unquote real projects.
Yeah.
Where
When
do they
I
fit into the gold standard?
That's a good question. And to answer that, there was literally a coin called Silver Coin. I don't know if you know that one.
Do not.
So that was when Bitcoin first kind of popped up. It was like $500 back then, and then this LTC came out, which was called the silver to Bitcoin's gold.
Is that
Um,
Litecoin now?
yes, Litecoin.
Okay.
So it was dubbed the silver coin. It was like what it was called. It was like $11 at the time versus Bitcoin's $500. So a lot of people just bought that, and it was literally a shit coin. Like everything that is just a fork of Bitcoin is a shit coin. Um, well, ETH is also a shit coin, but I'm not really gonna get into that. They're all like these are technologies that are not solving any problems whatsoever. They just exist. It's like a kind of like a worse version of how you could do a software. Ethereum is like the contract based thing, right? There was like what was the cat thing? Do you remember that one?
I
There's
do
like
not.
the first app using ETH was a cat sticker selling thing,
Oh, I
and it was
do
like
remember that. You just unlocked the vault for me. I had forgotten about that.
yeah. So like yeah, well, you can do the same thing with every other thing. It's like also what's the assets thing, the art thing. What was that even called? I can't even remember right
Wait,
now.
say that again. You broke out a little on me.
The art thing that you can do with the blockchain. It was a huge deal. People
No.
were buying like pictures for like thousands of dollars.
Oh, NFTs.
Yes, NFTs.
Oh
It's
my
like
God.
all these crap is just useless. Like and
Logan Paul.
yeah, like feel free to like oppose me or anything. It's like just I just don't see the value. Like why would you do that? It makes zero sense. They're like if there was only one NFT place, I would get it. It's like there are just so many different NFTs, right? It's like
Oh yeah.
which one is the real one? Like yeah, you bought fucking Mona Lisa on X1, and then Y1 comes up with it. Who owns? Anyway, it's just a
I,
clusterfuck.
I'm gonna say NFT Twitter was probably my favorite Twitter time, because it was all the NFT bros, like, look what I just bought, like my 4-day yacht club that I spent way too much money on. And then everyone just, clicking the right click copy or right click save image, and all of them getting mad. That was a fun time. But
Yeah.
on the Twitter subject, I do want to we have to bring this up because it was so funny. Did you hear about the quote unquote early approval for the crypto ETFs?
No.
So the SEC, for anyone I guess who doesn't know, that's kind of the Securities Exchange Commission, in the U.S. the semi-governmental body that regulates the markets. They prevent fraud and they do a lot to keep like you and me as independent investors safe. They're I've heard someone call them the stock market health inspector, and I think that's a very fair term. Um, but going on to that, the SEC tweeted on like Tuesday the 9th, all 11 Bitcoin ETFs have been approved. And all the big Twitter accounts ran with it, the news sites immediately ran with it, New York Times and Usual Whales, everyone you'd think that would. And then the chairman of the SEC, maybe not chairman, because I think Janet Yellen is the chairman, somebody high up in the SEC, quote retweeted and was like, hey, this isn't real. The SEC Twitter account was compromised. No Bitcoin ETFs have been approved yet.
Really?
And so that was a huge ordeal. And
Is SEC gonna investigate themselves over this?
That's the question, is like, what is the SEC going to do to quote unquote themselves?
Right. Because I mean, they're obviously like market manipulation.
Exactly. Like if like, I mean, let's just say Elon did that, tweeted like Cybertruck Part 2 out now, that's, oh, my account was hacked. They'd go after Elon,
Oh yeah, they would definitely go after Elon. I mean, they
Twitter,
already don't like it.
I mean, even if you find a more likable CEO in the SEC's eyes, of course, like trying to think who isn't being investigated right now by the SEC. So my first thought was Tim Cook, and I'm like, oh no, Apple's always kind of. Who's over Walmart? I honestly don't know.
Oh yeah, the Walmart. There's which family did it?
It was the Walton family, but it is no longer the Walton family.
Oh really? It's not? Oh.
No, it hasn't been the Walton family in a long time. But it's the same thing. If the Walmart official Twitter account tweeted out like, "Hey, we've tripled sales this year. We just haven't announced it yet."
Right.
SEC would go after Walmart for how did your Twitter account get compromised,
Oh yeah, definitely. Like you guys, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a problem. I don't know. They should definitely investigate themselves and find themselves not guilty.
I like that. I like that a lot. But yeah, getting back into like the spot Bitcoin ETFs, I do want to like make this distinction as well because this is been something I've been seeing a lot about online. So these are spot Bitcoin ETFs, the first ever allowed in U.S. markets, and like every provider but Vanguard, because Vanguard is not allowing you to buy the spot Bitcoin ETFs on their platform.
Which is funnily my 401k provider. So
we'll get to that in a moment. Also, spot Bitcoin in retirement accounts. So like Bitcoin ETFs have existed for a few years now. I was telling FA this before we hit live or record or whatever this is. That my first ever podcast episode on my own podcast was about the Bitcoin futures ETFs getting approval from the SEC, which would have been back in 2021. Which at that point you're treating Bitcoin like a commodity, and they buy, sell, trade over futures contracts of the future price of Bitcoin, which is also very much treating it like a currency because of course, I mean, I'm in the U.S. I have a service provider in the UK, so I buy puts on the British pound every month. So it's the same concept.
if anybody watches from the UK, we're sorry.
Harvey, love you, bud. Continuing on that, but then now these spot Bitcoin ETFs, because the futures Bitcoin ETFs, they solely go on futures contracts. The spot Bitcoin ETFs on the other side actually hold Bitcoin. So if you're investing in one of the 11 spot Bitcoin ETFs, I mean, yeah, you're investing in the future price of Bitcoin, but like you 1-for-1 hold Bitcoin. There's a few gold ETFs that do the same thing, but it's
Yeah.
a very, you are, I mean, betting on the long term appreciation, which I
Hmm.
think is interesting because like the futures ETFs, in my opinion at least, are betting on Bitcoin being adopted as a payment processor, a la El Salvador. Uh,
Yeah, I don't. Honestly, I don't see that. Do you know how much currently is cost for every single transaction with
it
Bitcoin?
was surprisingly high.
Yeah, like when it first came out, Bitcoin was advertised as an easy and very, very cheap way of like sending money over. Well, not so much when Bitcoin is $50,000, because it's like a set amount, right? So like,
Yeah, it's like one Satoshi or something like that.
right, yeah, something like that. It's like, bro, like if you're sending, I don't know, $20, I'm paying $50 for it. It's just, what's the point?
Let's kind of just Google that real quick because we are obviously on the computer. How much to send Bitcoin from one
There
wallet to
were
another? It's going to
there were
cost
some, yeah,
between $1 and $3 in fees, but if it's high network activity, or that number can go up depending on the price of Bitcoin. And that is
right,
per coincodex.com. I don't know how reputable that site is, but their SEO is on point because it's at the top of Google.
right. I mean, if your SEO is good, then you must be really good, right? That's how it works.
That bigger number, better person. Subscribe to
Yeah, that's
MarketPlays
exactly.
on YouTube, by the way. But God, continuing though on that, when like platforms like Zelle exist, you know,
Yeah,
that are, I mean, I transfer money
and
between bank.
Venmo and like PayPal. We didn't even have those when
No.
Bitcoin first came out. So it's like maybe it was kind of filling a hole in there. I mean, kind of it maybe kind of is still with international, but
Mhm.
not so much in I guess 2024 as it did in 2011. And it costs so much money. Like if I were actually to send money over to my friend that is in I don't know some other continent, I would not be using Bitcoin. I would maybe use something like I don't know, Litecoin. Maybe not Litecoin actually. What was the second one that was backed by banks? People were
Ethereum or
no, the third one. I think it fell out of grace after a while. I
well,
will find it in a second.
I mean, to talk even further on that, also, I think it was last year I was working with a freelancer out of Bangladesh. Uh,
Right.
he was creating some written content for me. He did great work. Um, and I was paying him probably like $100 a week, and I was paying him through PayPal. And I to pay him $100 USD over to, I cannot off the top of my head right now think whatever the Bangladeshian currency is. I was paying like $1 in fees a week, if that.
Oh,
It
yeah.
costs less than $5 a month, and I was PayPaling him like $100 a week.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the coin was called XRP. I think
Oh,
XRP was backed
yes.
by like banks and something, and people didn't like it that much because of that.
I somebody okay, so actually 2 weeks ago, yeah, 2 weeks ago, I did a YouTube video where I was gonna day trade Bitcoin, and a lot of people like came into chat because I was doing it live on stream, kind of like this. A lot of people came in the chat were like, "What do you think of XRP?" I'm like, bro, I don't know. So apparently, that's still a pretty hot topic in the crypto community.
Yeah, I mean XRP, people didn't like it. It was like number two at the time when I was back in big in cryptos. So like now it's I guess what level? Like yeah, number six. It's pretty good actually, much better than I would expect. Like
They're 58 cents to the USD, still up 85% in the last 5 years.
yeah, Dogecoin though, that brings memories for me. When it first came out, I made all these like miners at home, and like my wife was very angry with me. I had like this. I got a milk crate, and then it was just mining 24/7, and it's like I think I mined and bought in total 600,000 Dogecoins, and then I basically sold them when in 2015 when Bitcoin first started skyrocketing, and then yeah, I didn't make much money out of it, unfortunately, which is Sad.
Could have made a lot. Could have made a lot more. Hey, maybe it's great though that you didn't, because now you have time to sit here and do this with me.
Oh yeah, totally.
I
I agree.
I bought into Doge in would have been about 2016, 2017 ish. And I put like 10, $15 through. I had like 13,000 of them. So not life changing. Then Doge, I sold my like $15 or like $10 for like a $5 profit. I was like, all right, cool, I'm done. This was neat. And then like 2, 3 years later, all of a sudden Doge hits like $1, and I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, I
oh.
can't believe it actually hit $1. It's like that was the meme. The meme of Dogecoin was that $1 is one Doge. You know.
So yeah, 13 grand sounds way better than $15. I mean, yours would have been way more life-changing money than mine, but getting back into the spot Bitcoin ETFs.
Right.
You mentioned this. Vanguard is your 401k provider.
Yeah.
Um,
So I can't get into the Bitcoin ETFs to lose the money.
well, let me ask you, I mean, do you have an SDBA in your 401k, or do you just have a set investment lineup?
I have a set investment lineup.
Okay, well, no offense, but then you probably weren't getting it anyway. Because we'll get to that in a moment. But I was talking to somebody. I want to say it was Investment Kage over on Twitter, and shout out Kage, phenomenal person. We've been talking like daily lately. Cool guy. If you're watching this, go follow Kage. And about it, and I want to say it was him, and I hope to God I'm not attributing somebody else's quote to him. But they were like, the only point of these Bitcoin ETFs is to get Bitcoin into like IRAs, because obviously, most IRA providers won't let you invest directly in crypto, but you can go and buy any ETF you want.
Hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
I mean that would make sense actually.
so thinking about that also as well, let me ask you this: if you had the option, 401k, IRA, both traditional retirement accounts, and we're splitting hairs if we're going to make that differential. If you had the option to invest in Bitcoin in your 401k, would you?
Probably wouldn't honestly. Yeah, I mean, what is the market cap? It's like 800 billion right now.
I couldn't tell you.
Um, so it's like I think it was at 1.1 trillion. I remember it hitting that
It hit over a
milestone.
trillion for a while.
Let's say it gets there, okay, and then let's say that it grows a little bit more. But just how much increase are we expecting really here? It's like it'll maybe get to 60,000, which isn't a small amount of money, but we don't know when it's going to get there. Plus, the risk is too high to play with something like a 401k. And I don't think like if you just invested in SPY, I feel like you would do better than the Bitcoin.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. Are we a little biased? Maybe, but you're not
Yeah.
finding Bitcoin on marketplays.com, so go from there. But I actually get this is the reason I brought this up. I my 9 to 5 outside of marketplace, I work in the 401k industry. I'm a 401k administrator. Right now, I manage like 250 plans. Um, and I've seen people talk about putting Bitcoin in 401ks. So you in your own IRA, that is a self-directed account. That is your money, Roth, traditional, whatever. Do whatever you want with it. You want to YOLO it all, YOLO it all. You want to invest it all in something stupid, I don't care. That's your money. But in your employer plan, going back to what FA said, you have a set investment lineup. Your plan has a set fiduciary, usually like the head of HR, or if you're a bigger company, you'll have somebody specifically just to work on the 401k. And that fiduciary is responsible for a lot of things. But most notably, they are responsible for making sure you have pertinent investments or a pertinent investment lineup inside of your 401k. That means you have a wide range of good investments that'll fit everybody who works at the company, no matter age or anything, which is also kind of why we saw the rise of target date funds. But we'll get to that. And of course, you can outsource that fiduciary duties. You can outsource the administrative duties with a 316 TPA or 316 administrator, or you can outsource the investment fiduciary to pick the investment lineup. Most of them work with an investment company already or an advisor, like your Fidelities, your Morgan Stanleys, anybody. Every bank's got an advisor. What used to be First Republic. Um, and you can outsource that as a 338. But either way, somebody has a fiduciary responsibility to provide a pertinent investment lineup. And if you, as a plan participant, someone who has their money in that 401k, feels that your fiduciary is not doing a good enough job or does not have a good enough pertinent investment lineup, you have the right to pursue action against them legally.
Really?
Yeah. So like if you feel like, I mean, FA, if you open your 401k and only thing in there is bond funds, you're 20 plus years from retirement. You need
Yeah, I don't need
more
to
of like a
stability.
spy.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
You can sue your employer if
Really?
you have the legal right to. I mean, most places, you bring it up first, see what they say. If they say no, you have the right to sue to get more pertinent funds within your 401k. And the DOL will jump on that so fast. So where I'm going with this is from a fiduciary perspective, and I do 316 fiduciary over several 401k plans. This is what I do 40 hours a week. I don't know how you put a Bitcoin fund in there. I saw Fidelity,
right.
if the record keeper's Fidelity, they at one point talked about how you could allow direct Bitcoin buying in 401ks, but like knowing how volatile the asset is and kind of knowing the knowledge level of the average person when it comes to crypto and markets and everything, I can tell you that when we have like the company I work for, we had to hire more people in the call center in 2020 when the market crashed because the phone calls we were getting from people who like wanted explanations why the market crashed skyrocketed. So take that and combine it with such a volatile asset like Bitcoin.
Right. Yeah. People will not be happy, I feel like.
Exactly. No, I 100% agree with you. Like the second that thing drops, your record keepers are getting calls. And the second your record keeper says, we don't pick the investments, your plan provider or your company says jump, we say how high, which is truly what we do.
Right.
It won't take long before they start suing. They're gonna sue the advisor, they're gonna sue the fiduciary. And in my opinion, putting a Bitcoin fund in a 401k is just opening yourself up to lawsuits. Will we ever see that? I doubt it. I mean, I feel like at one point somebody's gonna be dumb enough to do it, but I don't know. I'm not putting my retirement money into it. I have a very, very small Bitcoin position. I think I'm up to like $15 in Bitcoin. Like nothing really.
Yeah. The most I probably got from Bitcoin is I had found an account that I had about half of not even half. It's like 0.1 Bitcoin in 2012. So that made like $10,000. So that was the most I have. I have and will ever have from Bitcoin probably.
But I mean, the Bitcoin as a whole to me, and please stop me if you disagree with what I'm about to say, seemed like a solution looking for a problem.
Definitely agree with that. Like, I don't think it is actually solving any problems. Like, sure, it's distributed and you can see everybody's transactions. Okay, now what? Like, sure, congratulations. So what does that do exactly? Why do you want to do this? So like people are saying fiat is gonna go away. Like, do you really want fiat to go away? It's like there's like regulations and I don't know. Like you trust, like I hope you trust the government to do like I don't know, save your ass when economical crises happen. Like you want to be able to like lend more money, things like that. With Bitcoin, you can't do any of that stuff. So like let's say like inflation, right? Inflation happened and then government's just trying to like increase the interest rates and all that stuff, like trying to balance that out. Let's say that we replace like dollars with Bitcoin. How would you even fix that situation with Bitcoin? Right? There are no mechanisms to do that.
I mean, I've heard people say, that's the point, which
I mean, I guess if that's the point, then I guess everybody's just like when you pay $50,000 for a loaf of bread, I guess you can just repeat that line.
God, if you're gonna get us in trouble. But I guess continuing on that talk though a little bit, or wrapping back into the spot Bitcoin ETFs. I feel like investing in the ETF is solely because you've seen Bitcoin's price chart.
Right.
I don't. I mean, granted, there are probably. I feel like anyone who actually believes in the technology long term and is investing in Bitcoin because they believe again the whole world will be El Salvador. Um, that they probably are buying just Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, I know from like Turkey, the Turkish lira went down quite a bit, so everybody was like trying to invest in Bitcoin, try to like get off of Turkish lira, either through like buy dollars or Bitcoin was actually huge.
Hmm.
I don't know if it's still huge, but everybody and their mothers were buying Bitcoin in Turkey a couple years back.
We saw the same thing when Russia invaded Ukraine and all the sanctions went up. The only way, like, if you were in the U.S. and you wanted to send money to your relatives in like Moscow, the only way to do that was like Bitcoin. And I do want to get that in here. I know we're kind of getting close to the end. I do believe crypto has a use case.
Yeah,
I think it's just more niche than a lot of like
right.
people are willing to admit.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, I could see like if there's like illegal to send the money, I guess,
Hmm.
over to that country because of sanctions or whatever. Uh, Bitcoin is definitely a way to go. Although now nowadays most like governments are actually making you force like buy the Bitcoin with the ID. If you're like extracting like the cash, you gotta give your ID and stuff like that. It wasn't like that when it first came out. So maybe is a big maybe. Yeah.
I mean, we're saying all this also. I mean, Bitcoin was it? They just turned Bitcoin just turned what, like 16, wasn't it? 15? It was
Really?
15.
Wow,
Yeah,
it's been
yeah.
going on.
It was like last week, Bitcoin's birthday. Um, let's see here. Bitcoin birthday. January
Yeah, there's
3rd, 2008 was the date
wow.
Satoshi Nakamoto mined the first Bitcoin. So yeah, Bitcoin just turned 16. So I will say, also to leave just kind of some room for the future. We are talking an asset that is it can drive now, in the US at least.
Right.
Uh
Yeah, it's true.
versus, US Federal Reserve's been around since what, who Andrew Jackson was in office, I believe. What
Yeah, it's a
president
good
founded the
question.
Federal Reserve? I think it was Jackson. Woodrow Wilson. I was not close.
Oh, so it's
Um
World War One.
yeah, 1913. So I mean, the Federal Reserve, the US dollar's been around of course since what, 1776. Call that an almost 300-year-old system. The Federal Reserve 2013. They'll be turning 111 this year, versus a 16-year-old asset class that I think a lot of people are still kind of figuring out.
Right.
That said, I don't believe it's about to, exactly set the world on fire.
Right. I mean, I don't see a use case. Doesn't mean that it will not have a use case. Or I I mean that's just my opinion. Like from a technical side of things, I think it's worthless. Aside from a gold standard thing, uh, but I mean, maybe something will change and it'll become like this super thing. I have no idea.
That's always the problem with these investments. We say we really have no idea.
Right. Yeah. We really have no idea. It's a risk. Yes, it's a giant ass risk, but hey, maybe if it works out, it works out. But I'm not getting into it. I've already tried my hand at it. I mined so many Doge coins. I was stupid. Yes, I know. But
I just
uh,
realized I forgot to send the we're live tweet and Instagram post, but all right, that's fine. I'll
that's
send two next week.
that's fine. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean, if you
I'm
want, you can now do it with ETFs. You can. Can you actually buy options? Like, can you
I
fetch
don't know.
derivatives out?
That's a very good question. I actually don't know. Do you know any of the offhand? Because I do not. You know any of the tickers of the 11 new ETFs? I'll check Robinhood real quick.
Let me see.
Can't do that because that exits out the stream. All right, maybe you should check Robinhood because I'm using my phone as my camera, and then my only way to pull off the Robinhood app means we lose the stream. So
Oh, I see. So yeah, there's a the Wisdom Tree Bitcoin Fund. Does that count? BTCW.
I don't know. But yeah,
Uh,
no, like I feel like if you can't buy options on them yet, it's coming.
yeah, I mean, I think one way to actually make a lot of money with this is, well, not a lot, but doing like options volatility trades, like a butterfly or something.
All right. Say it with me though. Not financial advice.
Yes, not financial advice at all. Just my opinion, which
This
is
is what FA thinks you should do with this is what FA thinks he should do with his own money.
yes,
Please make your own decisions.
right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, some volatility play could be done because inherently Bitcoin is so volatile. Um, that's not a bad play actually.
Well, let's also ask this. FA, what site are you using to track the new Bitcoin ETFs?
MarketPlays.com.
There you go.
So
Live right now. You can check them out. They are live and on the site.
yeah,
Yeah,
just search
BTCW.
for
You're right. Yep.
just search for Bitcoin and they'll come up.
Do we don't have a crypto hub.
We don't have a crypto hub, no.
You know what? I'm gonna leave this one up to the live chat. Anybody listening to the recording of this on Spotify and everywhere else that I'm posting it this week. By the way, thank you. If you we have while we are not yet tracking cryptos on marketplace.com, that may be in the works.
Yeah.
Comment down below if you want it. This is FA. He'd be the one to make it happen.
Yeah.
We do have like the ETFs and everything, the future derivatives ETFs and the spot Bitcoin ETFs tracked on marketplace.com. So if you want to go out there and start a crypto hub, me and FA will join and come say hey.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you want it, just let me know. I won't sleep and make it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, and if you even just want to say, hey, you guys are idiots and you don't know what you're talking about, creating a crypto hub is without a doubt the best way to get our attention.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I've insulted crypto enough for today.
I used to make FA read the comments, but he just start crying, so it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, I'll just cry.
Yeah, marketplace.com. Create a crypto hub. We'd love to have you.
Yeah.
I wish John were here. We could have him do it.
Yeah, that's okay. They'll create it. Right?
Yeah, and hey, and even if you're not a crypto investor, we got a lot more for you over on Marketplace. Whether you are an earnings fan, I'm a big fan of H/financial stocks because I am a big fan of American banks, and also Royal Bank of Canada right now, trading with a beta of like 0.87. I've been and a solid dividend going back to like 1860s. It's highly recommend, or no, do not highly recommend, not financial advice.
Yeah.
And also H/dividend stocks as well.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites.
I've had my mind I've had my eyes open a little bit with some of these healthcare stocks as well. We've got a little something for everybody. And that's another one of the great things about Marketplace. If you invest in something or you have an area of interest that you don't see, it's free to create a hub.
Yeah, it's completely free. You just open it up and then find like-minded people that wants to invest like you. Like the nuclear energy, we had that podcast last week. It's up 5%, by the way.
Oh, it is. Please don't tell me you ended up putting money in. Was it SMR or SJR?
It's SMR.
That's what I thought. Yeah, please tell me you new scale. Yep.
I didn't, but it is down. Yeah, it's down 10%.
Yeah, we did. God, they're down 80% in the last year.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually remove that from the hub.
Last week's podcast, FA says, I like SJR. Literally, we wake up the next morning, SMR, excuse me, laying off 28% of their workforce.
No, I said it has potential.
Okay, you're right. But I think at this point, sir, we're getting into semantics.
Yeah, well,
but hey, we're doing the opposite now. We're both saying we don't like the Bitcoin ETFs.
Right, so it'll probably go up. So
yeah, up 10% next week.
Yeah.
Don't say that, please. I'm editing that out. Don't say that.
Not financial advice.
When the Spotify edit comes through tomorrow, I'm gonna edit that statement out.
All right. Well,
yeah, that's 5:30. And yeah, with that said, thank you to absolutely everyone who tuned in. Thank you also as well to everyone who watches this replay on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. I'm putting this thing everywhere now. I did not sleep last night. I got our feed everywhere I could. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone who tuned in. Thank you everyone who watched live. And yeah, come hang out, marketplays.com. Completely free to join. FA and I are all over the site. Probably next week, we'll probably have John back as well, who can comment on it some as well. And I mean, we're just trying to bring investors together. We're trying to start the conversation because we believe when we work together as a team, we make better decisions.
Definitely agree with that.
And yeah, with that said, thank you all again for tuning in. And we will be back next Monday, right here live on YouTube, 5 p.m. Eastern, with whatever we decide to talk about. We haven't discussed yet.
If you have any comments or just feedback or any advice, just let us know.
Yeah. At MarketPlays or at MarketPlays app on really every social media site. Come let us know. I respond to every single DM and I read every comment. That's not even a joke. So please, if you have any suggestions, you have any questions, if you just want to tell us that we're wrong, come connect with us.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, and we'll see you next week.